I really didn't want this day to come, but here we are. We're gonna have to take the wrap off. My car got a little bit of damage on the rear end, so basically the rear end would have to get rewrapped anyways. So we're just gonna go ahead and pull all the wrap off the car, and I'm gonna show you guys how it's gonna look and just kind of guide you through the process. Let's get into it. I guess the paint doesn't bond as strong, so my front bumper and my rear bumper, paint's lifting up. So before we go ahead and peel the wrap off the car, I just want to preface this video and say that this car was brand new when I wrapped it. So literally it was like 2 weeks old. Paint should be brand new underneath here. And I'm really interested to find out how this is going to hold up because the wrap's been on here for 3 years. So when we peel the wrap off, is the paint going to come off? Is it going to mess up the paint? A lot of questions that there are to ask. You know, people are always worried if they wrap their car, how is the paint going to survive? So we're going to find out in this video. I have no idea what to expect, but I am expecting that hopefully it should look like a brand new car again with the black paint. So let's go ahead and jump into this video. My name is Nikolai. I like to film and build cool cars. If you're new here, consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon so you stay up to date. We're gonna learn a whole lot about cars and see some pretty cool stuff. Let's jump into the video. So we're in the garage now and I have the 8.6 behind me. Now before we even get into the wrap, a few things I'm gonna do to prep the car is I'm actually gonna toss the stock wheels on it. So the thing about these wheels that I have on it right now, they're totally fine, but you know, with the offset on them, they kind of poke a little bit and I don't wanna be like wrapping the car and have my tire touching the wrap just because, you know, obviously tire isn't really clean compared to clean paint just because like literally it's a tire, you know. But what I'm gonna do to kind of help with that is throw my stock wheels on the car. So I've got them right here and the offset is much higher, meaning the tire's actually gonna be way into the fender. So it's gonna give me more room to work with. It's gonna be easier. And also just the added benefit of not having to worry about these wheels possibly getting scratched just in case I hit them or whatever. Chances are unlikely, but you know, it's just better to have the safe route. So yeah, let's go ahead and get these wheels on the car and go from there. Boom, and now we have the wheels on the car. So it's so funny seeing the car look like this because I haven't seen it with these wheels on in a while. But now that we have the wheels on the car, let's go ahead and take the body kit off. So it's just held on with double-sided tape and a few clips. So let's go ahead and toss those off and then go from there. So I want to show you guys this trick I'm using to remove my spoiler. So my spoiler is actually held on with only double-sided tape. And since it's all around the edge, I can't just literally pull it off. Obviously, you know, I wanted it to stick on here when I was doing it in the first place, so like wind wouldn't blow it off, etc. So now it's just really hard to get off. So basically the trick I'm doing is I fed this plastic wire through it. You can use like fishing line. I think this is just called hanging wire, but basically all I'm doing is running it through the spoiler and it's cutting away at the double-sided tape. So I'm literally just gonna do this all along the edge. It's a little bit of a time-consuming process, but it gets the job done. And I'm just weaving it through and then eventually I'll get to the very end and you'll see that you'll actually be able to just pop the wing off. So once you feed the wire through, you can literally just come in here and pop it off like really easily. And wow, this thing looks like an absolute mess down here. Look at all this water that's just built up with like dirt and now it's just really ugly. And you know, the issue with doing this wire is that you are more than likely going to scratch the surface. So you can see all these scratches here. I don't care because I'm literally about to take that wrap off. If you're doing this a different way where maybe you have to remove the spoiler and you care about the paint underneath it, that might be a different story. I don't know how you'd want to do it, but at least for me, this works for me because I'm literally about to take this wrap off regardless. So it doesn't bother me too much that I just scratched it up since literally it's about to come off. So now that I have the side skirt off, I can actually go ahead and start taking off like the door, the quarter panel, the front fender. But what I've gone ahead is I've actually already taken the wrap off for the most part off of the rear bumper, and then I've started it on the trunk here. So it's really nice to see that literally the paint is still in its original condition. I mean, I wrapped it when it was brand new and you can see it's pretty much still there. So I'm really happy with it. So let's just go ahead and keep going and see how it looks. Alright guys, so this may be a little overboard, but I'm gonna entirely tear apart this front end except for the hood and headlights. So what that means is I'm going to remove my front lip, front bumper, and my front fenders as well. So most people, when they wrap their car, they will do the front bumper, and if there's like a lip as well, they'll take that out and then leave the fenders on. But I want this perfect. So, you know, it's really interesting because you can wrap it with them on. I mean, I did the blue with them on, and as you can see, the quality is there. Like, it's a pretty well done job. It's not lifting anywhere, none of that. It looks great. But the reason I want to take it off is I want it even better. So I want to be able to really get into here. So even though it looks fine, you know, I could always lift it and unscrew this and then pull the fender back slightly. I want to be able to do this with the fender off, because if I do that, then I'm able to get more into here, and then also right here, I wasn't able to get it perfect the first time, so I can really get in there if the fender's out of the way. The more you take off the car, the easier it is to wrap, and it's really not that much of a hassle to get the front fenders off. I'm not a pro here. This is literally just my own car, and I'm doing what works, so I'm not doing any fancy measurements. Literally, all I'm doing is taking some painter's tape, and then I have an emblem here, so the way I align my emblems is I just use body lines to kind of measure it out, and then anywhere where I can really distinguish where I originally put the tape. And then I also obviously outline the logo. So basically what I'm gonna do when I go back, you know, car's wrapped, I need to put the emblem back on. All I'm gonna have to do is just line up the emblem with where I outlined it and then stick it on and match up the body lines, and it'll be perfect. So it's a really simple way, you know, not trying to measure it out and be, oh, it's 2 inches here and then 5 there, you know, not all that fancy stuff. Literally just doing what works and what is simple and efficient. This front bumper is a total nightmare. Like, I don't know what's going on, because the rest of the car, as you can see, literally came off clean. I haven't even wiped it down. This is literally just how the wrap came off. Everything is perfect. Literally looks like a brand new car. And then we go to the front bumper, and I don't know if it's because it's a plastic bumper and the rest of the car is, you know, like metal or whatever, aluminum, it's whatever it's made out of. But here, it's like a nightmare. Like, it's literally like glue left over, and then it's even peeling my paint up. So you can see right here, it peeled the paint and it's like cracked. So I'm gonna have to just sand it away, because obviously I can't re-wrap over that. I don't want it to lift up when I'm wrapping. And then if we get like back here, you can kind of see right there, all of that has peeled off behind it. I don't know if maybe my car was, so I bought the car new. I don't know if maybe it was repainted before they even sold it new, and it like never, you know, I never was told about it. I don't know, because it's really weird that only the front bumper is acting this way when the rest of the car has done it. And I don't think it's due to the material either, because the rear bumper is probably the same material, and look, it came off perfectly fine and clean. So basically I'm just gonna have to probably say goodbye to the paint on this front bumper, because I do have a little bit of rock chips in here. So the wrap didn't protect the rock chips perfectly. As you can see, there's one right there, one there, and then a few over here as well. So yeah, just gonna have to kind of roll with it, I guess. You know, I could wrap over the rock chips and all the like paint that's coming off, but I don't want to do that. I want it perfect, so we're just gonna probably have to sand it and wrap over it. But before we wrap over it, obviously we'll have to sand it and get it smooth. So I guess we'll just go with it and see how it looks when we're done. So I'm working on the rear bumper, and unfortunately the paint came off. So what sucks is it seems like the plastic parts of this car just, I guess the paint doesn't bond as strong. So my front bumper and my rear bumper, paint's lifting up. So let's take a closer look at it. It looks like my bumper was rubbing with my quarter panel here. So it started here, that was already there. And then as I was peeling it, it must have had a corner to start on, and then boom, this whole piece came off. So what I'm gonna do in the meantime, you know, I'm not gonna repaint this panel just because if you repaint it, then it's probably gonna come off again. So I'm just gonna kind of go with the flow, sand this down so it's smooth and you can't see the edge, and then we'll go from there. So I have the 8.6 behind me now and have all the wrap off the car. Now it's been a few days later, but let's go ahead and show you guys the car. But before we actually get into that, I do want to tell you guys one thing. When I bought this car, I bought it brand new, and then within about 2 weeks, I had already ordered the wrap, and then over like the next 3 months, I had wrapped it. Now, yes, I know 3 months is a long time, but I just wanted it perfect, and that's how long it took me. You know, I was literally doing one panel a week because I was in work and school, so obviously not every day I was working on it 24/7. It was just kind of a very slow thing, slow process for me, but let's go and show you guys the car. Now, taking the wrap off was kind of a nightmare. You know, it wasn't like a total nightmare where it was horrible. As you can see from far away, the car looks perfect, but if we get closer to it, you'll actually be able to see kind of what I'm referring to. So hood is fine, right? There's no real damage here, nothing bad about it. It actually looks brand new because like I said, I bought the car and then wrapped it immediately almost, so really no damage there. Fenders are good as well, doors, everything over here is great. I mean, even my roof was not wrapped and you can see the color still there, like nothing faded, none of that. But here, let's get to the rear bumper and you'll see what's going on. So right here, I guess maybe because it's plastic or what, I'm not sure, but the edges started lifting up. So what I did to kind of counteract that is I sanded it down so it's smooth because we are going to be wrapping this car a new color. Now take a guess, what do you guys think it's going to be? Let me know in the comments. This thing is going a very bold color, not like the blue I had before. The blue was a very OEM plus color. It almost looked like a factory paint job, but it wasn't. Now we're going to go something a little bit more bold because I kind of thought, well, if we're going to be wrapping the car and spending all this time on it, we might as well do something that stands out. So let me know, what do you guys think? Take a guess, what do you think the color is going to be? Then moving along, you know, everything's fine, trunk is fine. But then if we get down here, check that out. It lifted my paint there as well. So I sanded it smooth. And, you know, if we go over here, obviously door, everything is fine. No real issues, but it's just kind of interesting because it did leave a lot of glue. So I can even get in here. I still actually left some glue residue just so I can show you guys. Can you really see that right there? If we look in the sunlight, see all that like residue? So you're probably seeing two things here. You're seeing a metallic in the paint, which is obviously supposed to be there. And then there's like that glue residue. Now this glue residue, I did do some test spots. It actually comes out very easily, like literally a simple polish with like M205 will get it out. So I'm not worried about it at all. It's not even etched into the paint. It's literally just a residue that came off. It doesn't come off with a wash, so you will need to polish it, but I even tried it by hand and it came off by hand, which is awesome. Now, it was just kind of interesting because this car was brand new. I literally bought it brand new. So it's kind of upsetting that the paint would peel off on a brand new car. I don't really know why. I did use Avery film, which is, you know, Avery is like one of the best in the business. So it's really interesting. You know, it's also nice to see that, you know, I don't have any rock chips. You know, if we want to get close up on it, no rock chips on the front. It does look very good. And I will say it does look like it's better condition than it would be if I had left it. But, you know, if you take care of your car, you're not really gonna have too many issues. Like for example, my roof was exposed this entire time and well, there's no issues there. So, you know, it's kind of a weird toss up because you want to protect your car, yet you don't want your car to have lifted paint. So it's very weird. I'm not really sure kind of what to say here because I will be wrapping the car. And keep in mind, when I bought the car, I bought it with intentions of wrapping it. That's literally why I bought a black car, because black cars are the easiest. And what I mean by easiest is things like I can leave the roof black, I can leave the side mirrors, the door handles black. I don't have to wrap everything on the car. I can actually kind of just skip a few things and make my life easier. Instead of having to wrap them black or, you know, body color, I can just leave them black. So going forward with it, would I wrap another car? This is a very tricky question because, you know, there's a lot of kind of, I guess you could say, characteristics here that kind of differentiate a car that I would wrap versus a car that I wouldn't. So if I was to do it all over again and I bought a brand new 8.6 or just any car brand new again, I would not wrap it. Honestly, if I was looking to protect the paint, I would just PPF it, because my misconception with this was, okay, well, if I wrap the car and then I, you know, go to the track, get rock chips, scratches, it's not going to show through the paint, but it will only damage the wrap. That was not the case. Here is an example of that. So you can actually see right here, that's a rock chip. it's so minimal, but it's just there that bothers me. So you can see I kind of pan from side to side and you can see it. So it's just very interesting because when I thought I was protecting the car, I wasn't. Now, I did protect it from like swirl marks, water spots, things like that, but actual things that hit the paint and, you know, put a dent in it or scratch it deeply, it will not protect against that. So it's really interesting. Obviously, it's better to have it there than to not. I just really wish it didn't peel the paint off because now, it sucks. But, you know, if I want to get this car back to black, I'm gonna have to repaint my front bumper and my rear bumper, which I really don't want to do that. So we're just always going to have a wrap on this car. You know, I don't plan to sell it. I always say this is like the first car that I bought myself with my own money. So I want to make sure that I keep this thing as long as I can. It really has that sentimental value to me. So, you know, there's really no point in me getting rid of this car unless I absolutely have to. So with a car like my 8.6, I'm just going to keep wrapping this car. Honestly, since the paint is peeled, it's already a black car. It's perfect color to wrap. I'm just going to keep wrapping it and just take the best care I can of it and just kind of go with the flow. But now, if I were to buy, let's say, a different car that didn't have good paint, you know, maybe an older car where it already had rock chips, I would just sand the paint and then wrap over it. That would be a good car to wrap. Now, like I said, if it's a brand new car, I think I would just PPF it or not do anything at all and, you know, maybe just do like a ceramic coating, which would work very well as well. Like for example, my roof ceramic coated, so that's probably why it, you know, held up so well. I don't have a single rock chip, single dent, none of that, not even, you know, swirl marks up here. It's really nice to just have a clean black paint. You know, it does get a little dusty, as you can see. I've only been out here for a few minutes and it's already like got all this dust on it, which is interesting. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a good learning experience to kind of work with the car and see how the wrap would hold up. Keep in mind, this was 3 years later. Wraps are only, you know, made to last maybe 5 years at most. So I was kind of, you know, not too late, but not too early on it. So it was a good time to take it off anyways. But yeah, I mean, let me know, what do you guys think? And also, what do you guys think the next color is going to be? Because like I said, it's going to be really bold. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video and want to see many more just like it, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.